we on? Good. Right, I don't have much time. This message is being looped on all temporal frequencies. If you can hear this, the world is lost. Humanity is dwindling. We are the last of our kind. We ignored the signs. It started off so slow, but gradually the machines started becoming more and more like us until it was too late. Keep this warning. Don't let them in. Don't listen to them.
Hey, Scott Reece here with Rob Cardosi. This is our show. This is The Rabbit Hole. What we do here is we just go down rabbit holes of music, bands, movies, whatever the hell we want. Rob Cardosi, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm doing great today. First of all, I want to say happy birthday to America. I hope you all had a very safe and pleasant 4th of July.
Very true. Very true. 250 years. What the heck?
Yep.
What the
You know,
heck?
Scott, I was thinking about something. Last week, we talked a lot about me and my past in the music business. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit how you got involved in it?
How did I get involved in music? My earliest memory of music is the radio. Because when we were kids, there was no internet. There was this little box in a car and a little box on the thing, and music came out of it, and you either liked it or didn't like it. And growing up, there was a radio station. I'm from the Bay Area. In San Francisco was KFRC, and this radio guy would just do all this crazy stuff, and it was just, you know how you don't put a face to the person. Back then you didn't. Now you just go, oh, I could look him up on my phone. There, I know what he looks like. But back then it was just this stuff coming out of this box, and I remember Johnny Cash at 5 years old. And I love A Boy Named Sue. I think I was like 5. Love that song. Love that song.
Great song.
And then as I kind of going better, I liked songs. You know what I mean? I liked that song by this guy. Or I didn't get into bands. And then as I was like maybe 17, 15, younger than that, a friend of mine, we traded I traded Led Zeppelin 4 for a Unleashed in the East, and that just made music go, oh my God, I really love this. So then I just became a fan of music, right? Going to concerts, my friends were in bands, and I got to be backstage, you know what I mean, for no matter how small of a show.
Yeah.
Right. No matter how, you're still backstage. Hey, I got the X on me or whatever. So anyway,
you had that Wayne's World moment, right?
Yes, I had it like as, oh my God, I'm backstage, and you're like, that's cool. So then I never played guitar up until I went to the Marine Corps. So I needed to go get my ass kicked a little bit. So I got out of the service. And a buddy of mine moved in who was a drummer and a guitar player. And I'm like, show me how to play guitar. And he's like, well, you're left-handed. I only play right-handed. I'm right-handed. I can play right-handed. I'm like, well, show me right-handed. So I just became a crappy bass player, a guitar player. We were like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were the opening band for the bands that would tour through San Francisco, Sacramento, Night Ranger, Blue Oyster Cult, which we'll probably get back to in a little bit. So my band got interviewed on a radio station, and the owner of the station told my friend Scott Plowman, you guys sound really good together. So him and I've been doing radio for 9 years now, and we have a Roku TV show. And then I hook up with Rob Cardosi here. We're doing some promotion for some friends of his for some bands. And we just started talking and saying, man, he would tell me stuff that I'm like, no way, Rob, come on. And, we both have our knowledge of, music. I think we both know a lot about nothing.
Right. We like to say that we forgot more about music than most people have ever known.
Very true. So the subjects that the rabbit hole we're going to jump down today, we're going to talk about cover bands or bands that tour under names, maybe with 0 members or maybe 1 member, not an original. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about songs that you didn't know was covers, which I didn't. There's a bunch out there. I was like, well, covers. That was a cover, and it was written by someone we don't even know. And then we're gonna jump down the 6 Degrees of Separation to Kiss, not Kevin Bacon. We're gonna do to Kiss. So let's start off with, bands that are touring. What do you guys think? I think we need to get some audience feedback, and hit us up. We'll give you an email at the end here, and hit us up and tell us what you think. Hit us on Facebook. What do you think of bands that are touring with 0 members or 1? What do you think there, Rob?
I debate the whole thing. Just for instance, last December, I went with a friend and we caught Kansas. And I didn't realize that there were no members of the band left.
None.
But I can't remember which member it is, but there is still one that's alive, and he manages the band. Does that give them the right to still tour under the name just Kansas, or are they Kansas a tribute band?
Right. I mean,
that's what got me thinking about this.
Now, like Foreigner. Is he even? What was his name of the guitar player? Is he even? He's not even in the band anymore, or he just sort of comes out.
He just sort of comes out and plays every once in a while. It's like he still owns the name,
correct?
But he doesn't do a lot of the touring.
Well, I mean, who owns the name of a band? Like, all right, let's say you got signed to Warner Brothers, or you got signed to Capitol, whatever. Do you own the name, or do they own the name?
It depends. A lot of times a band will copyright their own name.
Right.
And then other times the record company does. Like, let's do a perfect example. Motown owns the name The Temptations.
Right.
And there are actually 3 or 4 different groups right now touring under the name of The Temptations, because Motown put them together and they own the name.
So Motown says, hey, you can do this. You just pay us, and you could be whoever the hell you want to be that we own, of the names that we own.
Right. The band's interchangeable. One guy leaves the band, they just plug somebody else in it because they own the name. The Temptations themselves never, ever owned the name The Temptations, because if I'm not mistaken, Gordie Howe is actually the one that came up with that name.
Wow. Like, the Drifters, the Platters, the Four Tops all go out touring with no one in the bands.
Right. Like Smokey Robinson, he retained the rights to his name. So, that way when he toured just under the name of Smokey Robinson. But then he had the band name too that he toured with them.
Well, don't a lot of bands maybe like change their name? It's the something, and then they signed a band contract under that name, and now instead of being the Computers, now we're just Computers.
Right.
All the legal beagle stuff.
Right. Well, and then you got the bands out there like I don't know if you recall how and why Warrant broke up originally.
Well, and I know they're touring still. There's a couple members, right?
Well, there's still two original members, yes. But the original band broke up because Janie originally wanted to change the name of the band to Warrant featuring Janie Lane. And the rest of the guys were like, no, we're a band. It ain't all about you.
Right.
And that's when they fired Janie.
Ooh.
So, and once again, it comes down to there's 2 members. So are they still Warrant, or are they technically a tribute band? Because I'll bring up Brittany Fox.
Well, I mean,
Billy Childs had to change the name of. He can no longer tour under the Brittany Fox name. He has to tour as Brittany Fox, a tribute to Brittany Fox.
Well, what about Van Halen when they switch singers, or AC/DC, or jump down that rabbit hole? What do you like better in your? There's 3 Van Halens. Well, 2.5, I'd say.
Right. But the good thing about all 3 of those Van Halens, there's one consistent.
Eddie.
No, Alex. Alex has been in all 3 renditions of Van Halen.
So is Eddie Van Halen.
Well, technically not this one, because this one was formed after him, and that's with Wolfgang. where Wolfgang took his spot after he passed away.
Wait. Say that again.
Wolfgang Van Halen has taken his father's spot in Van Halen.
There is no Van Halen.
That's right. He took his spot. He's done a few shows, and then now he's doing his own thing.
Right,
Wolfgang. With the Wolfgang group.
Right. Love it.
Originally, after Eddie died, they had to finish out the tour, and Wolfgang took over. He was playing bass for them.
I was gonna say he
was playing bass.
Anthony, right?
And then Eddie passed away, and he changed from bass to guitar for the remainder of the shows under Van Halen's name.
Really? I did not know that. That is news to me. There it is. There's a rabbit hole that I have not been down.
Yeah, it was for a very short amount of shows, but he did do that. Because and then like I said, you had at least you had a Van Halen in the band.
And he went out as Van Halen with Alex.
Yes.
Really?
Yep. They tried to do it for a little bit, and then they just changed it to Wolfgang's band. I can't even remember what his name is right now. I've seen him tour under just Wolfgang, and now I think he actually has a name for his band, but I have to check on that one for you.
He just put out a new song I saw somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later. We will.
Then we got just for instance, tonight I'm going to a show. I'm going to check out LA Guns.
And there's another one.
There you go. I'm going to see the one that actually is Tracy and Phil. So technically there's two members, but then you had Riley's LA Guns.
Right.
That no longer exists because
he passed.
Riley's gone now. But once again, there it is. What gave him the right to call himself LA Guns if it's just him? Right. And Phil and Tracy are touring under the same name.
And Tracy Guns toured. Didn't the singer go with Riley for a while and then went back to Tracy? Isn't that how it worked?
Yes, that's how it worked. Yeah.
Right. Because I saw them all. Because my band opened for LA Guns with a different singer, I think it was, way back when. Anyway. And
hey, do you remember who the original singer of LA Guns was?
Axl.
Yep, Axl Rose.
And that's where the Rose was for. No, the Guns came from LA Guns, right? And then the Rose.
Yep, that's where the Guns came from.
Yes. I mean, so what do you think? What our audience out there, give us a little feedback. What do you think? Should a band tour with anyone in the band, or someone in the drummer was in the band at one time? I don't know. You know what? If someone is making money, and I hope they're doing it, with the spirit of the band, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but then I think I brought up the question to you. What about Lynyrd Skynyrd?
Nobody. There's really no one left, right?
There's nobody, but the lead singer is his brother.
Yeah, we talked about that. I said just because who is it? Tom Brady's brother is his brother. He can't take over for the Patriots, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So. And I don't know. I know his wife, Ronnie's wife, owns the rights to Lynyrd Skynyrd, and she had if I'm not mistaken, she actually had a clause called a three member clause. There had to be 3 original members for them to call themselves Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Well, that's out.
Yeah, that's completely out because there's only 2 original members that are still alive.
Yeah,
and they don't even play in the band anymore.
Exactly.
That Artemis Pyle and the original guitar player,
Gary Rossington.
No, Gary's dead.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Alan Collins.
Yeah. No, Alan Collins died in the plane crash. That was on the very first album.
That came up with the riff for
Sweet Home Alabama.
Correct. Hunt is his name or no?
I can't even remember, to tell you the truth. That's how much he lasted in the music business. I think he did the first 2 albums with Lynyrd Skynyrd and then just disappeared.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you got to respect bands like Robbie Krieger's still touring, right?
Correct, with the Doors. Yep.
but he doesn't call himself the Doors. He just calls himself the Robbie Krieger Band. But he's doing nothing but Doors songs. So you got to respect the man for respecting the image of the Doors.
Well, and a friend that I interviewed and am going to be interviewing again coming up, Albert Bouchard of Blue Oyster Cult. He has a new album, Imaginos 4. Actually, I was emailing with him yesterday, and he's in China. He's going to come back, and we're going to interview him. They have a new album coming up in September. Love Blue Oyster Cult. I've only seen them 24 times, I think. Soft Order Underbelly. I'm not a fan or any. I'm not a stalker or anything, you know.
I love Blue Oyster Cult because they push the envelope of recording and stuff like that. The first time I realized in the song "The Wizard,"
right,
that was a teapot that was supposed to be the wizard in the recording.
Really?
I was like, that's phenomenal. How'd they come up with that idea? You know. So yeah, I love Blue Oyster too.
Me too. Looking forward to Albert Bouchard. All right, that was a good little rabbit hole there. Let's go down the next one, which are cover songs that you never knew were cover songs. And I think like the first one that really got me was I didn't know was "There You Go, You Really Got Me" from Van Halen. When they put that out, I had never heard, the Kinks version or someone else's version. And someone's like, that's a cover song. I'm like, shut up, dude, that's Van Halen. And they're like, no, that's a cover song. It's a Kinks song. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then I was, my niece, who's 21, she brings this music to me, and she's listening to 70s and 80s music and going, Uncle, listen to this, listen to this. I'm like, I go, honey, I listened to that when I was a kid. And she said, well, it's new to me. And I'm like, yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Big light went over my head, and I was like, you're right. If you've never heard it before, it's new to you. So it's new. Each generation comes through listening to, movies, which we're going to talk about, that have soundtracks to it, and you like the movie, the music, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, I like the band, or, who is this band? And then it's like, well, that's a cover song. So let's talk about that. Cover songs that you didn't know. There, Rob.
The first one, I think I was shocked when I found out it was a cover song, was probably "Crimson and Clover" by Joan Jett.
Ah, yep. I
had no idea that Tommy James was the original artist that did that song.
And her other hit.
Which one? "I Love Rock and Roll," right?
Yeah, that was another one. And and if you've never heard the original, how in the hell would you know unless you went and looked at the copyright? And back in the day, you had an album. At least it didn't say Joan Jett, but now it's just you. I don't know. It's different. But what other ones surprised you?
"Red Red Wine" by UB40.
Ah,
I never knew that was a Neil Diamond song.
Really, Neil Diamond, huh?
Yeah, Neil Diamond did it. And now what's funny is Neil Diamond, when he performs "Red Red Wine" in concert, he actually does the UB40 version.
With the guitar.
Yeah.
The reggae version.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, like, who do you think is the largest person who is covered?
Hands down, it's got to be Bob Dylan.
Dylan.
He's been covered from everybody from Jimi Hendrix to Tesla.
George Harrison, Adele, the Byrds. And he does a different version, and I think everyone putting their little stank on it, changes the song, right? Aerosmith. Right. What was the first one on the Aerosmith album? "Walking the Dog." Love that song. And you're like, what? That's an old song, really?
Yeah. Actually, I think now that I'm thinking about it, what I think the one that blew my mind was Carlos Santana's "Black Magic Woman." I had no idea that was a Fleetwood Mac song.
Early Fleetwood Mac, right? Yeah.
Early Fleetwood Mac.
With, what was the guitar player? Had the green guitar that he sold, the Les Paul that he sold.
Yeah, Greenie. He played Greenie.
He's played Greenie. That Kurt Hammett supposedly has that now.
Yeah, he actually wrote Black Magic Woman. So,
Wow. Wow.
but yeah, I thought it was for years I thought it was Santana. I could never imagine anybody else but Santana doing that song.
Yeah, I mean that's the one you heard. That's the one the first time you heard it. You're like, oh my god, this is genius. This is beautiful. This is everything. And you're like, well,
Right.
he covered it.
Which now leads us into, what about cover songs that are better than the originals?
Very true.
You know,
Metallica, Whiskey in a Jar, hands down. Because
with me, I think it's Disturbed and Sounds of Silence.
agreed. Yeah, his voice. Yeah, Dave was it Dave Draymond?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Draymond.
And then, just like when Cyndi Lauper redid "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" from Robin Hazard. You listen to his version and hers, and you're like, yeah, she blew him away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then there's bands out there that have done songs that you're like, they're great, awesome bands, and then they try to do this cover song, and you're like, yeah, you failed big time.
That is yes.
I'm thinking right off the bat, Kid Rock, "I Want You to Want Me."
Kid.
When he
from Cheap Trick.
Yeah. And he also did a Bad Company song. I don't think he ever recorded the "I Want You to Want Me." He just did that one live a couple times. Terrible job. And then he did the remake of Bad Company. What was the one? It flopped.
Bad Company? The actual song, maybe?
No, it was oh my God, I'm blanking on it. That's how terrible the song was.
Kid Rock, huh?
Yeah.
And the one you actually were talking the other day, the Tony Basil song, "Oh Mickey, oh so funny," na 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 na. That.
Yeah.
But they changed it a little. They changed it from Kitty to Mickey.
Yeah.
And what was the name of the band?
The name of that band. Let me think real quick. Oh my God, I'm blanking out. You're really digging into my head.
It's Reece. For some odd reason, Racey. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rod Stewart did that. So Bruce Springsteen, "Blinded by the Light." You know what I mean?
Right.
I love that song, Manfred.
And
Mann.
what about Quiet Riot's "We're Not Come On Feel the Noise" by Slade?
First number one heavy metal hit.
Right. And you listen to the Slade version, and it's like, yeah, Quiet Riot just blew you out of the thing. And the funny thing about that one is Kevin DeBro never wanted to record that song.
Yes, they ran from it. They ran in from the studio.
Yeah, he hated that song, and it turned out to be their biggest hit.
What was "Achy Breaky Heart" also?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
They changed the lyrics a little bit to "Achy Breaky." And that just shows you what that shows me is it is originality. You can take any freaking song and go, okay, put whatever, but when you make it your own, I think that's, and obviously I think a lot of those bands, Garage Days, the whole Metallica album, a lot of the band, when Metallica started, they were playing covers, and people were like, I love that song, and they're like, thank you, because they didn't know.
What about that whole tribute album that Great White did called Great Zeppelin?
With the original singer, or?
Yeah, they did it with the original singer. Okay. They recorded a whole album that was nothing but Led Zeppelin songs.
Wow.
It's called Great Zeppelin, and it's phenomenal. If you close your eyes every once in a while, you'd swear to God that was Robert Plant singing.
Really?
Yeah. And not Jack.
Not Jack Russell.
Nope, not Jack Russell.
All right.
But it was him the whole time.
All right, we're going to talk about a little bit more of this, and we're going to talk about 6 Degrees of Separation to Kiss right after this from our sponsor, Hotel Music Videos on Roku TV. Check it out, everyone. Here we go.
Of ordinary to extraordinary life have created, produced, and managed the largest, at this time, all original indie music Roku channel, Hotel Music Videos. They love to give back to help others be seen and heard for their life legacy. They welcome new submissions from a variety of genres. Visit their website, www.hoteluniverse.com. Click on the Musicians Alliance tab. On the drop-down, click on the Exclusive Offers for Musicians tab. Complete the submission video form. Roku is seen in 160 countries and has a viewership of over 80 million active accounts worldwide. Be sure to add their channel to your Roku menu, watch, and give them a 5-star.
Hotel Music Videos, we want to thank them for sponsoring The Rabbit Hole with Cardosi and Reece. Thank you, Rob Cardosi. I mean, music, it's just endless. Someone will tell you something, you're like, what? I didn't know that. Or, did you know this and this? And you're like, really? I did not know that.
Definitely.
I think it's the... It's the fun of it, and like a knowledge thing when you meet someone and you're trying to, like on Jeopardy, because I can't answer a damn question on Jeopardy nowadays. Let me tell you, dude, what is the square root of 4,000,000,000 Earth's crust? And you're like, what? I didn't learn. I must have skipped school that day because I missed that.
Yeah.
So, cover bands. I mean, not cover bands. We're talking about the cover songs. There are so many out there that just made it their own, and I think that's the good part of it. And like
one of the best. Not to cut you off, brother man, but one of the best bands that is out nowadays that's doing that. There's two of them right now, and our listeners really got to check them out.
Who's that?
Small Town Titans.
Really?
Right? Yes, they do Queen justice, and you know how I am. I don't think anybody could do Freddie justice.
Agreed.
But they did a version of Fat Bottom Girls, and they made it their own, and they kicked it, and they made it theirs.
Small Town Titans, got to check them out, everybody. That's what we want you to do is check out. What we do is we're giving you something to jump down a rabbit hole, maybe a new band to check out, or just something to think about and go, me and Rob talk. It's like I learned something today. That's actually a good thing, right?
Right. And another one, I went down a rabbit hole myself the other day. I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called State of Mind.
I have not.
They're a hard rock band that's taking they have one of the best versions of Garth Brooks' Thunder Rolls I've ever heard.
Really?
They take country songs and they put some stank on it.
I like it. I mean, that's what like I said, you got to make it your own. You got to be an original. And I think the people today can smell bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You could kind of like, that guy's just kind of acting it out, or this guy, these guys are kind of doing it for the money, or you can tell, we can smell it. You can look through that. And I think a lot of the bands that are going around right now, I really enjoy watching the people that put their heart and passion into it,
Yes, definitely. You can tell that they're there for the music and not the money.
Exactly.
A good friend of mine the other day, we were at a show and watching the great Stoney Curtis up on stage, and she noticed how he was just grinning the whole show, and she made the comment that you could tell that that's where he loved to be, on that stage. And that's what I like to see in bands, when they're up there because they want to be,
right,
not because they're making a paycheck.
Agreed. Yeah, your heart has to be in there, and I think we can see through that as a intelligent people watchers.
Okay, we're talking about right now, everybody. We're talking about different songs and bands that have made other people's songs that didn't realize that they were covers. So now here you go, my friend Scott. I'm going to lead you down another rabbit hole.
All right, what you got?
2000 Man by Kiss.
Okay.
Who originally recorded it?
2000 Man by Kiss. I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to Google it right now. 2000 Man. Let's just say I'm going to go out there, Bob Dylan.
Nope. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards.
What?
Yes, it was a Rolling Stone song before it was an Ace Frehley song.
I did not know that. Really?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Well, Ace Frehley's big song was a cover also.
New York Groove.
Back in the New York Groove, yes.
Yeah.
And who knew that? Ace
Not-
Frehley puts out a new song, everybody loves it, and then you're like, well, you don't even think, oh, well, who wrote it? You know?
Right.
You just don't think like that. But and I think that everything does lead back to Kiss anyway. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's Kiss. I think probably like Paul Stanley and them two would go to all the like the LA clubs or the New York clubs and check out the new and upcoming talent that's coming through, and then they would bring them on tour. You know,
Right, yeah.
Every band toured with Kiss that became a big. Not every band became a big band, but bands that maybe were a flash in the pan maybe toured, and then shit fell apart.
Yeah, even bands that you wouldn't even think, like Bob Seger opened up for Kiss. I never in a million years would have ever have thought of putting Bob Seger and Kiss on the same bill.
Well, like I saw 38 Special and Rush, and I think back in the day they were trying to mix, hey, these rocker people here and this different group here, let's do two different bands. But now they figured out, no, you do 3 or 4 bands that are all the same genre, the metal, death metal, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's working out a little better.
Yes, the worst show I ever saw, honestly, and I didn't go for the headliner, to tell you the truth. I went for the opening act. Good Charlotte was opening for Justin Timberlake.
Oh,
talk about a mixed up venue. You know what I'm saying? Half the crowd, I bet you half the crowd left after Good Charlotte was done.
Now, do you know him? Right?
Huh?
The guy in Good Charlotte?
Yes, I do. I know a couple of the guys in Good Charlotte.
There you go. Rob is very well connected in the music industry.
Yep.
All right. 6 degrees of separation to Kiss. Now, tell me when you were first introduced to...
The first time I was ever introduced to Kiss was on Midnight Special.
There you go. Yes.
Yes, that was the first time I ever heard them. But I had heard them before. A friend of mine had an album, and he was playing it one day, and I loved the album, but I had never seen them.
Right.
And then I saw them on Midnight Special. I'm like, wow.
Whoa.
That's cool. The makeup just was intriguing and everything like that. And then you got all the lure and
the mystique that they never had their picture take. But back then, you got to realize things are different now than they were back then, because now, I got a picture of them on my phone, and they would have made a bunch of money. But back then, it was the mystique of the whole deal, which I really liked.
Yeah, I remember seeing in Circus Magazine, which we were talking about last week, a picture of Gene Simmons out when he was dating Cher, and he was at a restaurant, and he walked in with a bandana over his face.
Yep.
So nobody could see him at the restaurant.
Yep. And I think, and what they did is they went and they got, talent, and they had bands like Rush, Blue Oyster Cult, Suzi Quatro, Manfred Mann, bands you would never think would open for Kiss. UFO, T-Rex, Golden Earring, Foghat, Black Oak, Arkansas, ZZ Top, REO. Scorpions, Ted Nugent, Sammy Hagar, AC/DC, Cheap Trick. And I think they helped a lot in the music business. I think Gene Simmons is a freaking genius.
You can't take that away from him. He's a brilliant businessman. He's the only man in this world that can actually charge you $6 for a bag of air. And people buy it.
And they will buy it.
I'm not joking. I went to the Kiss Museum here in Las Vegas, where I live.
Right.
And the Kiss miniature golf, and they have this bag that says authentic Kiss air guitar strings for $6.
Did you buy
The
it?
man.
Did you buy
No,
it?
no.
I thought you
The
were a
man has
Kiss.
figured
You're
out
not a
how to
Kiss
sell
fan.
air.
You're not a Kiss fan if you didn't buy it.
Oh, no. I bought the real guitar strings. I bought the Ace Frehley Gibson strings.
Now, what is your connection with Ace Frehley?
I was his guitar tech for a few years.
Were you? No.
Yes, I was.
And you also built? Did you build guitar? I know you build guitars. I know. We'll talk. We'll jump down that rabbit hole later. But
right,
you've built a lot of guitars.
I didn't build the original one, but I used to have to every night repair and set up the smoker.
Did you? Now, what was that? What was that?
It was just it had a little. We had a little fog machine inside the guitar, and we would set it up. And it's now the modern one. The original one was actually smoke bombs.
Really?
And he would light them, and he actually burned his fingers originally doing it. But now it's progressed, and now it's a little fog machine, and there's a light in there. So it does. There's no flame or anything. Originally, there was an actual flame in it, and he used to burn his fingers regularly.
Now, how was Ace Frehley? How was that guy? He seemed like a funny person.
Ace is one of the most down-to-earth people you've ever met. And I will be honest with you, I knew Ace through the bad years, and I knew Ace through the good years.
Now, that would be the drinking years and the non-drinking years?
Yes. I can remember times, with Ace, he was, we didn't know how he was standing on stage playing. He was so messed up. Wow. And then when he got sober, and that was the hardest part about losing him recently, was he was finally to that place in his life where everything seemed to be working for him, and he was truly happy. And then he was gone. And right. I miss him every day. I really do. He was a great man. I always tell people I think of him as a second father to me.
Really? Wow.
And I've done a lot of things with him. I went to a lot of different things with him, and he taught me a lot about life itself. He taught me the whole theory about, never be too serious in life. And it'll all work out if you just let it follow its plan. Wow. Let life follow its plan. And Ace was right. That's him in a nutshell right there. Wow. Very caring and giving man. He loved his fans. There was not a time where there was actually only one place that he would ever get upset if somebody stopped to ask for a picture or an autograph.
What's that?
When he was eating.
Really? Well, I mean,
that's the only time he would ever not sign an autograph, not take a picture. If he was sitting in a restaurant eating and he had his food in front of him, please do not bother him. And we would actually be sitting there with him, and we'd see fans walking up, and we're like, you know what? Let him finish eating. He'll gladly sign or take a picture after he's done eating, but please let the man eat.
There you go.
And we would actually wait, and when he got done eating, we'd call the people back over, and and Ace he would sign something. He'd take a picture. There's actually a story going around, and I don't know if you'd ever heard it, where a little girl was selling her father's guitar on the street.
No, I didn't.
Because he had passed away, and they were trying to make rent money. And Ace stopped and was talking to her and everything like that, and found out her story and handed her $500, but told her to keep the guitar, and ended up paying for guitar lessons for the little girl too.
Oh, wow. I mean, those are the good stories that you don't hear. You know what I mean? You only hear, he wrecked into a tree and, blah, blah, blah. You never hear really good down to earth, how good people they really are.
Right, exactly. And he, like I said, once he got straight, he was a great man. I'm not saying he wasn't before, because he was. He was my hero growing up.
Definitely, mine too.
And just to see him do that, and like I said, we lost him, so early. Like, it just hurts. And I miss him every day of the week. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about him.
Wow.
You know, honestly, every time my phone rings, I think of him because my ringtone is actually New York Groove.
Really?
Yes.
There you go. A true fan. And I think that's what you and I and people who are really into music, we really love it. I mean, I eat, breathe, sleep music, always have. I just never had an outlet like this before, you know, doing
Right.
radio with the music, doing it this way, jumping down rabbit holes with knowledgeable, obviously knowledgeable people that lived it. You lived it with him. I
Yep.
never said that. You know, I could never say that, but that's the fun of this, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It was a blast. It was a time of my life that I wouldn't change for anything.
And what years were those?
I started working for Ace in '95, right before the first reunion tour. And I was with him with Fraley's Comet, the original Fraley's Comets.
Okay.
And then went into the years with going back into makeup with Kiss and stuff like that.
And you did all that too?
Yes, I toured with him back in the makeup days too, with Kiss. He took me with him.
Wow.
And then after he left for the second time,
Right.
and went back to the H and started the H Fraley band. You know, did some stuff like that. In fact, last year at NAMM, I got to bump into somebody that also played with Ace. He was there after me, of course, though, and we swapped a few stories, and that was Matt Starr. You know,
Matt,
great,
yep.
great, phenomenal
Great
drummer.
Yes.
You know, and I saw recently that that band had gotten together and did a few shows to remember Ace.
Oh, I did not know that.
So, and a friend of mine also, Zachary Throne, got to play bass for Ace for a few months, and that was a phenomenal thing. Watching another very good friend of mine up there on stage with both of them, you know, both of them and everything like that. You know, that was a time I won't ever forget.
I would think not.
And then I remember another great friend of mine, Mr. Todd Kearns.
Todd.
You know, him performing with Ace on the Kiss Cruise. With him, I want to say it was him, Bruce Kulick, Eric Singer, and Ace.
Very cool.
And it was just phenomenal. You know, Bruce was on lead, and so was Ace, of course. And then Todd was playing bass, and Eric Singer was on drums. And it was a phenomenal show. You know,
I still have not been on a cruise yet. That is one of us. I'm bucket listing it right now. One bucket list.
Well,
Go.
you know, I heard that I haven't been to it. I'm planning to go next year to go to the new. You know, they're doing the Landlock thing now. The Kiss Cruises are now called Kiss Cruise Landlocked, and they've been doing it at Planet Hollywood and stuff like that here in Las Vegas.
Whoa. Okay. Sign me up.
I definitely got. We definitely got to go next year. We do.
Yes, definitely. You know, because there's the bands that are the iconic. I guess you would call the 70s. It would be Kiss. You know, Black Sabbath, I think, changed it. Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith. I mean, there's, and I think the longevity of them is because they're still around, basically. You know, I think Aerosmith is trying to again. Kiss is still going to do something. Rush is back, and I will see them in a couple months.
And it's, real quick, Getty, hope you're feeling better.
Who?
Getty.
Oh yeah, Getty. He had to cancel a couple shows. Yeah, I mean, you know, you don't tour for what, 10 years, and then all of a sudden you're back in it, and you know we're all of us are growing older every day, and you realize, oh my body, my mind is really sharp, but the body is giving me some issues.
I'm really excited to see Rush. I want to go see them because I am Neil Peart. I am a diehard Neil Peart fan.
Yes.
And in my own opinion, I found it hard to believe that anybody could ever replace Neil.
Well, I think
But-
she's doing a great
but
job.
they say that you don't miss Neil one bit. You know, as
I
far
still
as
miss him. I still miss him.
I mean, the playing wise, she's
I know.
right there with Neil. So
Agreed.
I'm very excited to hopefully see them soon.
I've seen Rush over 20 times. Met them. I snuck backstage during the Moving Pictures tour, and we hung out. And I swear, if what was the song Limelight? If that song already wasn't out, I swear it would have, because my idiot friend, when Rush came out, he bear hugged Geddy Lee. And I swear Neil Peart looked back and goes, you know, I can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend.
Yeah.
So,
I tell you, speaking like we were talking earlier about tribute bands and stuff like that.
yeah.
I got the great opportunity about 2 years ago to go see Primus.
Oh, I've seen
And-
Primus. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
they were doing the Rush songs.
Oh, really?
Yes, all they did was Rush songs. They did like 2 of their own songs, and then the rest of the set was nothing but Rush.
Wow. And I bet he can. That's probably the only other bass player that can handle that with no problem. Les
Right.
Claypool.
Yep.
Just
Not only the bass playing, but the vocals too. He hit them dead on
really.
every time, every bit of it. He hit it perfectly, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
Because at that point in time in my life, the only Primus song I had ever heard was Wynonna's Big Brown Beaver.
My name is Mud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's local around here, and that's
Okay.
yeah. He's Northern California up here, and I've saw him probably 5-6 times, and I just honestly I didn't get it. I mean, great bass player, but at the time I was into the metal, and I'm like, this ain't metal. And what did Les Claypool tried out for Metallica, and he's like, hey, you guys want to play some OJs or some funk? You know,
Yeah.
he's just not the. And he's phenomenal bass player and singer.
Yeah, there's a whole new rabbit hole we can go down too for you guys out there talking about members of bands that almost were.
Almost, maybe, could have, should have, but wouldn't have, really.
Like just imagine Poison with Slash, not CC DeVille.
Or Metallica with John Bush from Armored Saint.
Yes. So there's a whole other rabbit hole we need to go down to one of these days.
You are not kidding. So since we have been talking about Kiss now,
Yes.
bands that influenced by Kiss. I mean, if you probably our people our age were all, I think Kiss kind of woke up they were different, they were mysterious, they were, and they were great at I think in their heyday. I think they're still great. I think in their heyday, for those 4 years, 5 years, they just shook the world, I think, and they were the kings for a while, and then they all what happens? What do you think happens then? Money, greed.
I can tell you from Ace's point of view what happened, why he left the band.
Power.
No, Gene and Paul were wanting to take the band in a different direction that Ace did not want to go in.
What, the disco song or Elder?
The disco album and The Elder.
The Elder.
The Elder was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And Ace is like, I'm out of here. Goodbye.
And they wanted to keep him in. They wanted him in because they didn't want to, break up the family.
And he actually had stayed a little past The Elder. He actually played the Creatures of the Night tour, but it wasn't him playing on the album.
Really?
That was Bob Kulick.
Huh.
That played most of Ace's solos on that album. And I think Vinny did a couple too, actually.
Well, there was a lot I heard that Ace he wasn't able to, or he wasn't showing up, or, because he was going through, what rock stars do.
Yeah, and let's not forget the biggest mistake of Kiss's career.
What's that?
Kiss meets the Phantom.
I remember watching that, just waiting to watch it, going, "What the hell?"
How are you the biggest rock band in the world and you go to Hanna-Barbera and say, make a movie for us?
I'd say that was probably Gene Simmons. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, that was, and Gene and Paul hate the movie completely. And it's funny, Ace loved it.
And did you see that it was not Ace the entire time that was playing guitar or whatever?
Right. It was his
body
his
double. It was his body double.
Yeah, and Ace only had like 2 lines in the whole movie because he was so wasted and he wouldn't show up to the thing when they would talk about what type of lines they wanted. So they gave him the one, and one of the lines was because Peter Criss couldn't get the line out. So Ace did the line, and the other one he says ack. Yeah, and
he laughed a lot when he had like a giggle line.
Yeah, and I think the other line he had in the whole movie was, and they got guns too. I mean, heck, that wasn't even Peter Criss's voice through the whole movie.
It wasn't?
No, he did not do any of them. They were overdubbed by another actor. So that whole movie was just a total shit show.
Abomination.
Yes.
Abomination. And I can remember even as like I was probably like 13 watching it going, what the hell? What happened to those guys from that Kiss Alive 1 and Kiss Alive 2 on the back of the album with the fire? And these guys are horrible.
That, in my opinion, that ranked right up there with the Star Wars holiday special.
Or when Fonzie jumped the shark, that was was jumping the shark.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole right there.
And then at that point in time too, Gene was more focused on his Hollywood career.
Well, he was dating Cher and everybody else, right?
Yeah, he made that movie with Tom Selleck. What was it? Runaway.
Yeah. He cut his hair. He cut his hair and all that.
And that's when they came out with the Dynasty album, which was the disco album.
Yeah.
And Ace was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this."
I would think.
And Peter had already decided he was leaving the band, and that's when they brought in Eric Carr.
Now, he was a good drummer, and,
Eric was awesome. He was.
Rest in peace, Eric Carr. Wow, what a tragedy for that.
Yeah, there was no other drummer that could have filled Peter Criss's shoes, in my opinion.
Agreed.
He had that same. Well, I think it's because they both came from that jazz background.
Correct. Like Black Sabbath too. They were jazzy with that.
Yeah. It's where he's almost like Peter. He almost is playing offbeat, but he's not.
A shuffle, maybe, or something. I don't know. But
yeah, that's one instrument I can't tell you nothing about. I do not know how to play the drums. I can play you I can play Wipeout. That's my extent of drumming.
I can do the ting. What is it? A joke after.
Yeah.
Now there's too many things working. 4 things working at once. No thanks. I could do a guitar. That's about it.
I have a hard enough, strumming, playing chords, and singing at the same time. You want me to do what with how many feet and hands?
No.
Yeah, no
keep
way.
time and keep time. No, thank you.
Ain't gonna happen.
I never got that. All right, Rob. We talked about cover bands, and are you really the name of the band that you are? Like, LA Guns, Foreigner. If no one's in it, someone owns it. Yeah, the Motown thing. But then we jumped into the cover songs. There's lots in there that I was like, wait a minute, I never heard that before. But that's fun, and So, and then we talked about Kiss because everything goes back to Kiss. I think Black Sabbath, Kiss.
You talk to 90% of the musicians in the world, and you ask them, well, what were your influences? 90% of the people out in the music industry will say Kiss.
Agreed.
Or a member of Kiss. Like me, myself, the reason I got into playing guitar was Ace Frehley.
I play bass because of Gene Simmons.
There you go, My biggest influences in music were Ace Frehley, Angus Young, and Ted Nugent. And if you ask Ted Nugent and Angus Young who their biggest influences were, they'll tell you Ace Frehley.
Right. Well, I would say maybe Ted Nugent. They were out. They were with the Amboy Dukes. I'm sure it was blues based. You know, everybody's blues based back. It all came from the blues. It all came from, and then that's where the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and that's who their heroes were. Were all the blues artists.
Right, and like it's because of Ace Frehley. I made my father so angry at me.
Oh yeah.
When he gave me my first Les Paul, and I wanted to be like Ace, and I disconnected the other two pickups.
Oh.
And only had my bridge working. He's like, "Why did you do that?" I said, "Because that's the way Ace does it." Because I wanted to be able to hit that toggle switch and get that wah 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 sound.
So did you, and we were talking about all the magazines that we got, and I think that back in the day, that's just how you got it. You didn't go on the internet and go, blah, 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 blah. What did they do today? What did the Cars do today? Or what did Led Zeppelin have for breakfast? We had to wait a month, and we got old info, and I still have all my magazines. I have 5 cartons of those things, and my wife is always, "Why are you keeping those things?" I'm like, because I can.
Yeah, when I read, there was an article in, I think it was Guitar World. I remember reading an article about Ace, and it gave you his whole setup. What pedals he used, to what, in which order they were lined in, and how he ran them into his amplifier. And I had to. At that time, I had a Fender amp.
Uh-huh.
And I'll never forget going to my dad and saying, "Dad, I need a Marshall." And he goes, "What's wrong with your amp now?" I said, "Ace doesn't have one."
Really?
And he didn't buy it for me. I had to wash cars and mow lawns for like 6 months so I could go out, and I bought this little bitty Marshall, this little 15-watt Marshall amp, just so I could get the same sound Ace Frehley had.
Wow. Yeah, and those are the little things that make music, I think, fun and entertaining for people, because you can look back and get that feeling you had, listening to Kiss, listening to Rush, listening to all the bands that we love, and it just brings you back. And I think music is one of those things that can really do that to you in a minute. In 5 minutes, you put on a song, and I'm like, I know where I heard that first. We were in the back of my buddy's Camaro, and we were, and that's the beauty of music. That's what I really like.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
I also remember, being frustrated when I was trying to learn the Kiss songs and stuff like that, because I'm like, all right, I'm doing everything that Ace is doing here. I got the same speaker, the same pedals, the same everything. Why doesn't it sound like that? And then realizing, hey, he's tuned a half step down.
Yep. And you're like, why doesn't it sound the same? And me, I wasn't smart enough to know the difference when I first started playing guitar. So,
And then I tuned a half step down, and I was like, there it is. There's the sound.
All right, Rob. These are fun rabbit holes, and I hope our audience out there is having fun. Just talking about everything that has to do with the band you love, things that make us tick, make everyone go back to that happy place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if anybody's got any suggestions for us, hit us up on Facebook, leave a comment, and tell us. I check it every day, and we'll be more than happy to hit some of your topics that you want to hear about.
Yeah, throw us some topics that you want to us to jump down the rabbit hole. And
if we don't know anything about it, we'll fake it till we make it. No, we'll seriously do some research before we do it.
We will do. All right, Rob, as always, my friends, check us all out at The Rabbit Hole with Reece and Cardosi and Reece. Said it backwards.
Yep.
And check us out. Hit us up. We are active on Facebook and all the social medias. And hope you guys like it. Hit us up. Thank you very much, Rob Cardosi. The Rabbit Hole.
We'll see y'all next. Well, we'll look forward to hearing from you guys, and hope you'll listen to us next week.
Peace out.